Alabama all over the NFL draft, whether it was the Crimson Tide and their picks or Kalen DeBoer and his picks from Washington. Alabama with a huge, really showing at the NFL draft. And don't forget, Nick Saban was one of the commentators. We're going to get into that. And also a big-time target that changed a visit to Auburn to come to Alabama. So we'll talk about him as well. All that right here on the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Great having you here. And the way that we ask you to be a part of it is just join and give us a thumbs up. Roll Tide. All right, there he is, big, sexy Elmo from WJLX Radio in Jasper, Mr. Brett Elmore. I'm Mick Gillispie. Great to have you guys here with us. And we can get right into it, Brett. It is the day after the first round of the draft in Alabama with some big-time guys picked, including J.C. Latham, offensive tackle to the Tennessee Titans, number 7.
Yeah, 7th on the list. Titans got him a good tackle, man. I'm telling you. Of course, we don't have to go into the particulars of all these players because we all know them and we all love them and we all wish them the best of luck. But Latham, that 6'6", 342-pound monster there on the offensive line. I was glad to see him get picked in the top 10. And like I say, Tennessee got him a good one.
Yeah, every time Alabama loses one of these maulers on the offensive line, you're always wondering who's going to be the next guy to step up and fill that role.
Yeah.
And, I'm guessing it's Booker on this offensive line that'll be in this spot in a year from now. I remember Neal was in that spot, and you're going, hey, how do you replace this guy? But the offensive linemen in the draft have really become one of the most sought after positions. It's obvious. It's an offensive league now. All the picks at the top of the draft were on the offensive side of the football.
Yeah, he was the second offensive lineman to be picked in the draft. But yeah, I think the first 3 picks were all quarterbacks. Then a receiver, a tackle, a receiver, an offensive tackle, another quarterback, another receiver. Mm-hmm. And that's what Coach Saban said. Now you see why I retired. Everything's offense now. I'm a defensive guy. Where's all the defensive guys at?
Yeah, they get on runs, Brett,
They do. And finally, I think a defensive player was drafted after the 15th round. I mean, the 15th pick was the first defensive guy.
Yeah, and the second defensive guy, Minnesota Vikings, number 17 from the University of Alabama, traded by the Jacksonville Jaguars, at least the pick, Dallas Turner.
Dallas Turner, man, another one of my favorites, 6'3", 247, that big edge guy, and he's going to Minnesota to be a Viking.
Minnesota,
my friend, Minnesota. Overall value, bargain. They got him a bargain. Vikings gave up a fair amount to get him, but probably the best defensive player in this class.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they got really good value for that.
Yeah. And I mean, think about it. It just depends on the year, what teams' needs are, and then the runs. It's like, hey, maybe if we got we need to do this now because that's what everyone's doing. We're such a, in life, we're just like always monkey see, monkey do. I see it in baseball all the time with analytics. Football kind of the same way with the draft, and right now I get it. I mean, the NFL is a league that the rules are tilted to the offense. And so you didn't see a lot of guys on defense leave this draft early, but you're right. I think that they got a steal with Dallas Turner. I think he can do a lot of different things to help you win football games. And I think he's another guy that's going to be hard to replace, on the Alabama defensive side of the ball. So he's out, number 17. And then all of our favorite guys drafted 24th. And another trade to get him. Dallas traded with Detroit. Detroit was hosting the draft. Terrion Arnold, cornerback, Alabama, going to the Lions.
Yeah, and a very popular pick. You were watching the War Room for Detroit when they got the trade, and the smiles in that room when they drafted Terrion Arnold. ESPN called this a massive steal.
Wow.
And so it's a good deal for Detroit. They've picked up a great football player. And Mick, I really think not only a great football player, but I think an incredible person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nick Saban was talking about him too on the sideline, doing his color commentary. And, Brett, he talked about how hard Arnold worked to get to that spot.
Yeah, he did. He talked about, how much he progressed in the system. And he even made, I think, a jab when he said when players were quitting or transferring, he stuck with it and he got better, and look where he is now.
Yeah.
And I have to say, and watching Coach Saban last night, really for the first time on that game day set, once again, it was sort of like an A-Day moment. It kind of hit home, I think, with a lot of Alabama fans that this is, his new job. But I tell you, he was, I thought, really, really good on the air. He obviously he has that ex-coach in him, and he he breaks down everything, which is good. But I thought Saban was a home run last night on the broadcast.
Yeah, his first time out as ESPN's Nick Saban and not Alabama's Nick Saban. Let's talk about Alabama's coach, Kalen DeBoer. He's the new guy in. Washington was his team last year. They had a huge night in the draft. How about 2 top 10 picks for them? And it started with a guy that I've loved since he was a quarterback at Indiana, and that's Michael Penix Jr. This was a weird pick because the Falcons just went out and signed Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
And they paid him like $45 million. And then all of a sudden, they decide they're going to take Penix, who's dealt with a rash of injuries in his career. With that said, he is a winner. He's a winning quarterback. He's a winner, someone that maybe could help the Falcons. I don't know, but in a game where you need so many different playmakers, you need guys in the trenches. I was surprised by this pick.
Everyone was surprised by that, pick. And it's going to be a story, I think, that's going to be talked about today. And it was just a complete surprise, a stunner, because Kirk Cousins, he didn't even know anything about it.
Right.
He got the phone call as the announcement was being made. And, they just signed him to a 4-year, $180 million contract last month in free agency. And he thought that they were going to go out and get someone to build the team now. And now, they signed a guy that's, could be his backup. And two of those 4 years are guaranteed for Cousins. So it was really odd.
Yeah, very surprising, and it's going to be interesting to see how that is. But maybe there's a game plan here. Maybe you draft them and you trade them. And after the draft, maybe there's some value there that wouldn't have been there on draft night. I don't know. I mean, why would you want to have 2 quarterbacks when you have a salary cap and there's so many other things? Although Cousins has been hurt, so maybe that's why. Maybe you feel like, hey, he's an insurance policy. I don't know. I was surprised by this too, and then to have the cousin stuff start to come out during the draft, it reminded me of when Aaron Rodgers was with Green Bay and
Uh-huh.
they drafted Love instead of going out and getting some targets for him when they didn't have any wide receivers.
Yeah, it's definitely a big story, but let's get back to the Washington angle. That was huge. And then the receiver got drafted right after Penix.
Yeah. Rome Dunze, wide receiver, Washington guy, was a touchdown machine. He was part of a crew of guys who were making plays all over the football field. And you're talking about a guy who helped DeBoer get to the national championship game.
Yeah, he was the third ranked receiver, eighth overall prospect, and a very talented guy, and going to add a lot of value there to uh, to the Bears.
Yeah, no doubt. So the Bears had the first pick in the draft. They took Caleb Williams, and then they had him to give them somebody to throw the football to.
So the DeBoer Saban combination, 3 players in the first 10 picks.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
So then you got number 20 for them, and it's the Steelers again. Offensive tackle. We talked about that guard. Those guys that are out there that are going to protect the quarterback.
Yeah, he goes 20th to the Steelers, like you mentioned, and 6'4", 317 pounds, big guy. Another what they call on the value chart a very good bargain. So another player from the DeBoer era at Washington goes. And I guess the next question is, as you get into day 2 of the draft, where does Kool-Aid go?
Yeah, it's a good question. You wonder why Kool-Aid wasn't taken. And I guess it really comes down to me where I feel like I think it had to do with maybe the kick returns. That was definitely something that he didn't do well. Did people feel like he took plays off? I don't know. I mean, or maybe that there was just not a need for it. But I was surprised that Baltimore didn't take Kool-Aid. I really thought they would, and instead they got the guy out of Clemson. So he'll be
Nate
one of the
Wiggins.
first. Yeah, he'll be one of the first guys off the board. But I was hoping for his sake that he would be in that first round somewhere.
Yeah, I was hoping so too, especially after Terrion got picked there at 24th. And I was with you. You were saying all along. You said, I think the Ravens are going to take Kool-Aid, and it was kind of a surprise that they, because they have had that Bama connection, like we were talking about off the air. But they went with a Clemson guy, Nate Wiggins, and but yeah, Kool-Aid, still going to be an early second rounder. I mean, he'll be fine.
All right, and let's talk some recruiting. As the NFL is recruiting its players, Alabama is doing the same thing with the guys in high school. And here's maybe a guy again that this new staff targets that wasn't initially someone that was very high on Alabama's list, or maybe he wasn't so high on Alabama, but Mal Waldrep, who has been offered by a ton of schools, Clemson, Auburn, Bama, obviously Georgia, Florida, Florida State, Tennessee, Penn State, Ole Miss, Michigan. I mean, you go down the line, right? So he's got all of these offers. And I think Auburn really wants to get Thompson, but it looks like he's been to Auburn, had another visit set there, and instead he's coming to Alabama for a visit. And I think that's a good sign for the Crimson Tide.
He's one of those kids from Central Phenix City. He's a Red Devil. 6'5", 290 pounds, coached by Patrick Nix, but that doesn't matter. And, no Auburn lean there. Alabama, yeah, he drops that visit to Auburn to go with an official visit to Alabama. Big old boy, and I tell you, they won that 7A state championship last year, and he was one of the cogs there on the offensive line, and looks to have an even bigger season this year. and folks that may not be from around the state of Alabama, we got Bama fans that watch all over the country, but Central Phenix City is a pretty powerful high school program in the state of Alabama, and I mean this season they're playing a team out of Missouri. I think they're playing IMG Academy this year. It's hard to find teams to play them, so they have to go out nationally and play some of these bigger schools. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see Mal Waldrep on campus and see what he thinks.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. He's a 4-star, according to Rivals, 3-star with the rest of the publications, but big dude, looks the part, 6'5", 310. Brett and I are big guys that like to eat at the Chinese buffet. I think he could hang with us there.
Probably so.
I'm a General Tso's guy with egg rolls, and I like the crab wontons.
Yeah. And,
did you know that, Brett?
I didn't know that. I had last night I had Mongolian beef and fried rice, and there's my fortune cookie.
Oh, nice! Open the fortune. Let's see what your fortune is, and then I'll let you kind of tell us what's going on in the world. You're always so good at that.
Yeah.
Let's see what Brett's fortune is.
There's nothing in it.
Well, there's your fortune. You have no future.
I have no future.
All right, tell us what's going on.
Can you believe that? I've been ripped off by the fortune cookie maker.
Some cookie has 2 fortunes in it now.
Yeah. Oh boy, yeah. No, happy Friday, everyone. Hope everybody has a great Friday. Looking forward to the weekend, just like everyone else today.
Are you working towards the weekend?
Everybody's working toward the weekend, Mick. Are you kidding me? Arbor Day is today. It's a day to celebrate trees. So hug a tree. National Pretzel Day today, too. You are a pretzel guy.
You know that. I love them.
And you told me about some sort of super pretzel or something the other night. I don't know if I was delirious.
No, that's true. That's true. It was huge. It was a giant pretzel, and I told you that we ought to make Harry Carey glasses pretzel. Yeah. It's just big.
You're right, pretzels. Yeah.
I love pretzels. And I love pretzels with dipping sauces because I like to dip the pretzels in different things. So this is a great day for me.
So it's Pretzel Day and Arbor Day. So enjoy your day, everyone, and we're getting ready for the weekend, and maybe we'll have some big news. Join me on the radio, 6 to 10, WJLX1015.com.
All right. And finally, newlifeart.com, Bama Tailgate. I'm telling you, at the end of the weekend, you're not going to get 15% off 4th and 31 anymore. So take advantage of it right now. The promo code Bama Tailgate at newlifeart.com, and you can get the 4th and 31 print, Jalen Milroe. Yep, throwing a touchdown to stun Auburn, and you're going to love it. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. And roll tide, man. Have a great Friday. And don't forget, the mullet toss is this weekend.
I'm competing for Mr. Mullet Toss. Come vote for me.
Yeah, pick him. All right, see ya.